Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so. This is my brand new channel talking about Chinese economy, Chinese business. If you want to know about the Chinese business and economy and what's happening in China, make sure you follow this channel. Before I start with the video, I'm going to be talking about earthquake that's happened in Taiwan, and every single news article that I see, every single post on Twitter, everybody seems to be worried about the semiconductors rather than Taiwanese people. And you can see every single post, everybody saying, "Oh, TSMC is evacuate staff, pauses, semiconductor stuff." It doesn't talk about people, it's basically talking about semiconductors. I mean, look at this guy. The world's largest semiconductor manufacturer, TSMC, was affected by the earthquake in Taiwan. What about the people? I mean, if you had any humanity, you would basically start off with saying, there's an earthquake in Taiwan. I hope the people are okay. I hope the people are safe. Then you can talk about the, businesses and stuff. No word about, if Taiwanese people are safe. No word about if any Chinese people are safe. They're all about, semiconductors. And you can see every single Bloomberg is talking about it as well. Taiwan, semiconductors. It's just the same every single news article you can go to. They're also talking about semiconductors. Taiwan, look at this one. Taiwan has an earthquake. West, are the semiconductors okay? This is exactly what they're trying to do. So you got to read between the lines, guys, and you can see the West doesn't really care about Taiwan or its people or China or anyone. All he cares about is semiconductors. So I want to talk about this recent Biden and Xi spoke on the phone. So Biden basically called President Xi, and it wasn't the other way around, by the way. So it was Biden that called China, and they had a 2-hour conversation. So basically, I was also reading some of the kind of the Chinese papers as well, and it's pretty much the same thing. The Biden admin basically wanted to call China to improve relations, because recently there's been a lot of stuff going on coming out of the United States which have been very anti-Chinese. Like, they've added more sanctions towards China. They've added more weapons to Taiwan. There's more US troops in Kinmen Island, which is Taiwanese island owned. So there's a lot of rhetoric going on, pushing the more, anti-Chinese stuff, pissing off the Chinese people with more sanctions. And so the Chinese are not happy as well. And there could be a number of other reasons why this has happened as well. It could be because the Iranian consulate got bombed recently, and US knows that Iran is very close to China, so they probably called China to basically tell Iran not to escalate or something. Because an attack on Iran is an attack on BRICS, because Iran is a member of BRICS now. It's a member of SCO. And the most powerful country in the BRICS is China. So obviously they know any escalation with Iran would escalate into a world war. They will, China would get involved and Russia would get involved. So that was probably the main reason. And but the Chinese readout said that they want US to follow the One China policy. What they're doing in Taiwan with all these US troops in Taiwan and selling weapons to Taiwan, Chinese are not very happy about. So they made that very clear to Biden. They're not very happy about all these sanctions going on Chinese companies as well. So they said that to Biden. But Biden pretty much is an idiot, guys. As you know, he will just say one thing one day and he will do another. So he'll probably say to President Xi, yeah, don't worry, I'll sort this out. Don't worry, mate. Don't worry, I'll fix it. But one day later or 2 days later, it's back to the same old tricks. The same old sanctions, same old, rhetoric with Taiwan. And, at the end of the day, this guy doesn't have a clue. And it's the same old story. And China's heard it all before. And it's not going to change, unfortunately. So Janet Yellen is basically back to China again to beg for some more money. She wants China to buy more bonds. The bond prices have been going down recently. The US is basically trying to sell more bonds around the world. Countries are not buying because the economy is not doing very well. The dollar is not doing very well. And so she's going to China to basically get China to buy more bonds and also for China to buy more US assets and stuff. Basically, she's in China to beg for more money. I mean, look, this is not China going to United States asking for money or asking for United States to buy Chinese bonds. This is the US going to China. So when you have someone knocking on your door, they usually want something from you, right? So Yellen wants something from China. So usually the bonds she wants China to buy more of. And so these bonds, they can, the US can spend more on the military complex and basically spend more on debt. And it's just not going to work, guys. I mean, when you want something from someone, you got to give something in return. And if US can stop these sanctions or reverse these sanctions, if they can stop most of the rhetoric that they're doing with Taiwan, maybe China will start buying bonds from them. But end of the day, you got to look at it in a business standpoint. Buying the US bonds is not business, doesn't make any business sense anymore because the dollar is falling. The dollar is falling really big time. The only thing keeping the dollar strong right now is the high interest rates. High interest rates is keeping the dollar very strong. However, they cannot go on with these high interest rates for too long, because US has got huge amounts of debt. As you've seen, like 34 trillion in debt. And with the high interest means they're going to pay back on that debt. People with homes, with mortgages, they're going to pay high interest, interest rates, which means they got to pay more monthly. People who have got loans, they're going to have to pay more loan amounts monthly as well. So, and the businesses who have been borrowing money when rates were very low, like 0.5 or 0% at some points, or even like 1%. They've been low for years, and they've been kept artificially low to prop up the economy. And now it's gone up like 4 or 5 times, and businesses are now going to be struggling to pay lots of these loans back. And they can probably a lot of these businesses can probably survive 6 months or a year, but it's coming to a time now when businesses are going to be really struggling. Especially now, you can see the oil prices have gone back near $90 a barrel, and the oil prices were around 70, 75 a few months ago, but now they've gone to 90, and now businesses are going to really struggle because the transport costs are going to go up. Inflation is going to go up. The CPI report came out last month, and that was pretty high, higher than expected, which means the inflation is not going down. The high oil prices are not going to help. The high interest rates is not going to help either, because that means more money is going to go out of balance to pay the loan or pay the mortgage or pay interest. And so things are not looking good. So they cannot keep these high interest rates for too long. But if they pivot, if they start pivoting and lowering these interest rates, the dollar is going to start falling. Because the only thing propping up the dollar right now is interest rates. And if they reduce the interest rates, the dollar is just going to fall, free fall. So they do not want to do that. And I predict that they cannot reduce the interest rates this year because they just cannot, mainly because inflation is still high. And the only reason they increase the interest rates is to basically keep the inflation low. They want to put that to 2%, but obviously they cannot. I think the CPI figures came to like 3.2% or something. And so they cannot do that. So unfortunately, US is in a really bad pickle at the moment. And Janet Yellen, this is why she's in China, to borrow more money, to get China to buy more bonds. I hope the Chinese basically just kick her out. Obviously, diplomatically, give her a few dinners and give her some mushrooms and stuff, and then send her on her way. I don't think they should help the US because last time they helped the US was in 2008 financial crisis. They bought 100 billion worth of bonds. But what did US do in return? And as you can see, they completely alienated China, completely sanctioned them to hell. They blamed them for COVID. They tariffed them to hell as well, and obviously there've been increasing tensions in Taiwan and South China Sea, and that list goes on, guys. There's no point helping the US. There's absolutely no point. They will just stab you in the back like they've done. So what else is the US doing? The US is also asking South Korea to toughen export curbs on chips. So the US has actually destroyed the Netherlands. They have forced ASML to stop supplying goods and chips to China. When I say goods, I mean chip making equipment, DUV machines, EUV machines. It's gone so bad right now that ASML is looking to leave Netherlands and to move to a different country. And the Netherlands is obviously trying to stop them, but ASML will go because they've had enough. They cannot survive as a business if they stay in Netherlands, because if you cannot sell to your biggest trading partner, if you cannot sell equipment to the biggest, customer, then what's the point of staying? ASML will be absolutely destroyed if they stay in Netherlands. So it's good riddance if they leave Netherlands and find new pastures, and it'll be good for them as long as they can sell to China. So they're trying to do the same thing to South Korea. They're trying to destroy South Korean economy. South Korean's economy has not been doing great at the moment. This year was the first year South Korean had a deficit with China. Over the past 20 years, they actually had a surplus with China, which means they were selling more goods to China than buying from China. But now, this year, they're buying more from China than selling. So South Korean economy is not doing very well. They also rely on Chinese goods like semiconductor stuff they need, like rare earth minerals and neon gas and many other raw materials they need from China for their semiconductor businesses. So they cannot afford to mess around with China and start putting curbs and things like that. And if they do, it's going to be the end of their economy, full stop. This year they sold over 11 billion worth of chips to China. And if they stop that, that's 11 billion worth of money they are not going to get from China. And in return, if they do stop that, then China will retaliate, and South Korea will lose more money, and it's not going to be worth doing it. So one other country that has been sanctioning China with US's wishes is Japan. And as you can see, Japan is ready to collapse. Japanese yen languishes near multi-decade low, despite intervention fears. They've tried. Japan is also one of the biggest indebted countries in the world, 250 billion in debt as well. So they are in serious trouble. They try to increase the interest rates, but you can imagine increasing interest rates on that amount of debt is just going to destroy that country. So Japan is in a really major problem. The US forced Japan not to sell chip equipment and chips to China, and this has caused serious issues with the Japanese economy, as China was its biggest trading partner. So stupidly enough, Japan has basically destroyed its own economy again based on US pressure. Last time they did that was in the Plaza Accord, and the Japanese do not have any sovereignty when it comes to business. They will happily destroy their own economy for the good of the US economy, and it's absolutely ridiculous to see that happen. A country like Japan destroying its own economy because of what US wanted. And it's just sad to see, guys. Absolutely sad to see. So anyway, let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.